It is a nice segue for the music that you just heard is Family Feud. And that's what we're going to be talking about on the first half of the show. You've probably all heard of Family Feud. You may also know that there's a Family Feud Canada. It's hosted by Jerry D. It's a fun, entertaining show. I don't know about you, but I've always wondered what it would be like to be on the show with my family. And perhaps you've also thought about it. Well, there was a Montreal family that appeared on Family Feud Canada this past Thursday. We're going to hear about their fun and wild experience, and that's going to be coming up shortly. And on the second half of Life Unrehearsed, we're going to be talking prostate health. We're going to be joined by two gentlemen that have had to deal with prostate cancer. They're going to be telling us their stories as well as their involvement in a wonderful organization called Prostate Cancer Support Group Montreal and West Island. So that's coming up after the 3:30 news. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, you could tell by the excitement with the music being played in advance. I've been looking forward to this interview for quite a while. The Dora family recently appeared on Family Feud Canada. In fact, it was this past Thursday, and I was one of many Canadians watching the show and rooting on this Montreal family. But can you imagine not being able to talk about it since they filmed it over 6 months ago? Well, now the cat's out of the bag, and we want to hear all about it. And on the line, we have Emery Dora and his two daughters, Madison and Cassidy. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Hi.
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 Hello, everyone. All right, we got all three of you on the line. Emery, first of all, where do you live?
We live in Dorval.
All right. So you proudly represented Montreal on the show and proud West Islanders. So, Emery, can you tell us which family members participated in the show?
Yeah, sure. So it was my daughters and I. So that's Madison and Cassidy. My nephew, Cameron, and his fiancée, Sophia.
All right, so there's five of you. You had your two daughters. We got Madison and Cassidy also on the line. Madison, just for some context, how old are you?
I'm 25.
And I understand you're a lawyer.
Yes, I'm a lawyer. I practice in civil litigation at Kliger Atedgi Legal.
Okay, wonderful. And Cassidy, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 20 years old.
And I understand, is it you're in university in journalism, is that right?
Exactly right.
We're going to have to get you on CJAD over here, Cassidy, one day.
Exactly.
All right, Emery, I'd love to know just the background behind all this. What was the motivation to try and get on Family Feud Canada?
Okay, so I'll try and make a long answer short. I lost my wife like 12 years ago, Heather Gordon, and my kids at the time were 8 and 13. So it was important for me to kind of carry on, that whole family dynamic and keep things as normal as possible, especially at that young age. So we did a lot of road trips. We went to Florida twice. We drove over there. We went to Virginia Beach, Atlantic City. And Cassie loves football, so we went to the Football Hall of Fame in Akron, Ohio. We also went to see Cristiano Ronaldo because Madison was a soccer fan in Philadelphia. And it just goes on. Went to Super Bowl events in New York City in 2014. Just kind of on the whim, said, let's just go. The Macy's Parade, you name it, we did it. So during the pandemic, it was like, we're all shut down for like 2 years. And we're like just housebound. And Cassie was watching some of these game shows, and she was watching Family Feud. So they were advertising, always like they're looking for contestants. So I asked her, do you think you'd want to try and go? Should we apply? And she goes like, sure. So then I asked Madison, which she first said no, and a little more resistance with Madison, but with some persuading and convincing, we were able to talk her into going. After that, it was kind of getting my nephew on board, which was pretty easy, Cameron, and his fiancée, Sophia. And they all agreed to do it. So then with that, we kind of bonded and formed our team. We had a spare. That's Cameron's brother, my other nephew, Cody. So you need a spare.
Okay.
Just in case something happens to somebody at the last minute.
All right.
And with all this, our team was born.
And the five of you and Team Dora was there. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here. We're talking with the Dora family about their experience on Family Feud Canada. It was just aired this past Thursday, and we've got Dad Emery on the line with his two daughters, Madison and Cassidy. Now, Madison, I'm intrigued. What was the selection process like?
So the selection process was really fun. First, we had to make an audition tape, which you can actually find on YouTube. It's called Family Feud Canada, the Dora Audition. And the audition tape essentially introduced our family, what we do, and our hobbies. So we went with the sporty theme since we're all super competitive and we've all participated in athletics growing up. And my dad was actually a competitive bodybuilder and is a well-known personal trainer in the West Island now. Then they liked our audition tape and contacted us for interviews where they got to know us more. And then we were selected to be on the show. It was a super fun project to do as a family.
I would imagine. And I understand they left you hanging for a while. It wasn't an instant answer, wasn't it, Madison?
No, it was the whole process took place over months, actually. So we would go for weeks and weeks and weeks without hearing anything, and we weren't sure if we got on or not, but I mean, then we got the great news.
You got the green light. Now, Cassidy, I would imagine everyone's on eggshells. What's going on? Or, maybe we didn't make it. So I'd love to know what your reaction was when you found out your family was chosen to be on Family Feud Canada.
Right, again, so like we discussed, I mean, by the point, a couple months in, I really wasn't sure whether or not we'd get on. We hadn't heard anything from them. So, I mean, at the time we received the news, my dad and sister were actually out running errands, and I was at home. They got the call and then came home and told me, and I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was totally shocked and excited at the same time, but I was starting to feel a bit nervous too because it was starting to get real, like we're going to be on TV. So I was almost thinking to myself, like, what did we get ourselves into? So it was a bunch of emotions when I found out the news that we'd be on.
Well, it must have been, and so exciting listening to Life Unrehearsed with Matt Del Vecchio. And we've got some of the members of the Dora family, Emery, Dad, and we've got Madison and Cassidy talking about their experience on being selected for Family Feud Canada. Now, Emery, I'm going to bring it over to you because I'd love to hear the background about the day of taping, because I believe it's filmed in Toronto. You're living in Montreal, so
Right.
Can you bring us through that the whole process for the day of taping?
Sure. So actually, the night before, I was pretty excited, and I think I got about 3 hours of sleep that night. And then I was really super pumped for the next day, though. And we had an early start because we had to do like a rapid COVID test before going into the studio. Mm-hmm. And the girls were getting themselves all made up and everything, so we're just all kind of hanging out at the hotel, which is where they did the COVID test. And then once we got into the studio, then we were greeted by their staff members, which they made us feel very comfortable right from the beginning. And they took us to the green room. So in the green room, we're just kind of waiting for a turn, and there's a little TV set in there where we can just kind of see the other families and so on. And then when it was our turn to go, they called us, and there we go. We marched off onto the stage. And once on the stage, though, that's when we met the host and the rest of the staff members. And again, they all made us feel comfortable like right away because you're a little jittery at first, and then once they got us in, they kind of spoke a bit about the rules and whatnot. And after that, the game began, and they did a great job kind of getting us relaxed, and we played the best we could.
It must have been exciting. Madison, I understand. Did you have to do like a practice round beforehand? Was that the same day, or was that done beforehand?
It was done beforehand, the practice round, which really helped us, especially me, and I know probably my other family members as well, made us feel super comfortable, especially when you're in front of all the cameras. I mean, I've never been on TV or in front of that many cameras. So I think during the practice round, I actually felt more nervous than I ended up feeling during the actual game. So it really helped a lot.
But it must have, sure. And Cassidy, I understand there was, I guess you had someone at your side kind of guiding you during the actual taping and putting up cue cards and stuff. Is that how it worked behind the scenes?
Yeah, exactly. So our producer was there kind of guiding us through the whole process. She would hold up these cue cards sort of beside the camera to sort of encourage us to cheer more, to get us going a bit. So they were really helpful in that sense, really just guiding us through the process and making sure everything went smooth.
Right. And just very quickly, Madison, I mean, it's a half an hour show with commercials. It's around 21, 22 minutes, but filming was actually, how long did that take?
The filming was actually about an hour and a half. So you can imagine we all said a lot more than you ended up seeing on TV. But they did an amazing job editing and really went with that sporty bodybuilding theme for us.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here, and we're talking with the Dora family about their experience on Family Feud Canada. And we've got Dad Emery and his two daughters, Madison and Cassidy, on the line. And the other two that joined them on Family Feud Canada was Emery's nephew Cameron and Cameron's fiancée Sophia. Well, we heard just before traffic what it was like auditioning and the day of the taping. And Madison, I'm going to go to you. Madison, go to the lawyer for the next question. Why not? So, Madison, if we did not see you on Thursday night when it aired, how did the Dora family do?
Well, from the feedback we got from all our friends and family who did watch the show, it seems like we did really well. But we did meet up with a pretty strong team, and unfortunately we couldn't come away with the win. We had a good and strong start to the game, but didn't win the last round, which was the triple-point round, which would have won us the game.
Well, I watched it, and I want to protest this show because whoever did this survey, it was ridiculous. Just to give a quick little context, it all came down to the last round.
Exactly.
And the question was, name a winter activity that you would be impressed to see your grandma doing. And the other team won. They won to the buzzer first. There's 4 answers. They nailed the first 3. Okay, name an winter activity that you would be impressed to see your grandma doing. They got skiing, they got ice skating, they got sledding, tobogganing, and they got strike 1. Strike 2, strike 3. And for all the marbles, you guys were all huddled up. And which answer did you give? Because I thought you were going to win it with this answer.
We gave the answer curling, which I think is a good Canadian sport, a winter activity for sure. And the answer ended up being polar plunge. We could not believe it. None of us even knew polar plunge was a real winter activity.
I was watching with my wife. We looked at each other. We said, what? Even Jerry D, the host, said, I wouldn't have got that. And so anyways, that's the way it works in Family Feud Canada. You gave it a real good run, and it was pretty fun. Cassidy, I want to ask you, what stood out the most from your experience?
I mean, I would say after watching the show so much and seeing so many episodes, actually being there in person was so surreal. I mean, it was an experience that I could have never imagined. I've always watched these game shows on TV, and I see these families on there and people, and I wonder, who these people are and how they got there. And for it to be us this time was insane. I mean, I never thought we would be there. So I really think it was just the experience of actually being there, seeing the set. It was something that, again, I never thought would have happened to us.
Memories for life. And Emery, I got to take my hat off to you. I love the story behind the story. Your wife passed away 12 years ago, and your family, has stayed strong together. And, hey, why don't we give this Family Feud thing a shot? It wasn't easy to get on it, and you made it happen with your daughters and your nephew and his fiance. Of everything, Emery, what stood out in your mind?
Again, the whole process, I think, was just kind of fun. All of us, coming together, practicing the game, just leading up to the game. That whole process was amazing. And just going out on the stage afterwards, it was like that shiny blue floor always mesmerizes me when I look at it on TV. It's just like, then it felt like I just stepped into the TV box and I was there, or the television set. So it was just like the coolest thing. Then once we're there, being a former bodybuilder, I'm used to being on the stage a bit. So the lights come on, I hit my double bicep, and I felt like I was at home.
Showtime. I love it. And Madison, what about you? What stood out for you?
Well, I was really impressed with how well organized it all was, how smoothly the day went, and how welcoming and nice the staff was. The night before the show and the morning of, I was feeling really nervous, but when we got there, they made us feel so comfortable, and by the time I got on stage, I wasn't even nervous anymore when the cameras went on. It was also really fun meeting some of the other families on the show who came up from all across Canada.
Yeah, that must have been something else. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed with Matt Del Vecchio, and we're talking with Emery Dora and his 2 daughters, Madison and Cassidy. We're talking about their time on Family Feud Canada that was aired on Thursday. And Emery, that was filmed right in August, I guess, last year?
Well, actually, it was the beginning of November.
It was the beginning of November, so it was several months.
Right.
And I guess you had to keep quiet, right? I guess there's agreements that are signed. And you
right. For a guy with a loud mouth like I have, it was really hard.
I hear you 2 daughters snickering in the background, too, because they know you all too well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did it.
Well, you know, I watched it, and you guys really did a good job, and it was quite fun to watch. Emery, I'd love to get your recommendation because, you know, you went for it, and I just love the story. And what would you recommend to families or even individuals that say, you know, they want to do something, but they end up getting cold feet, they just never want to pursue, and they just don't do it? What would you suggest?
Yeah, the funny thing is I have recommended this to my friends, going, "Oh, you guys have to do this. It was the greatest thing." And my family, other family members, and everyone, "Oh, I'd be too embarrassed to go in there, too shy." And I am by nature very shy, so it was a little difficult, but you know, I think it was well worth it. And you know, it brought us closer together. It created definitely a lifetime of memories for all of us. We'll never forget this. And you know, just the whole auditioning, practicing, and competing together really, you know, we were kind of dependent on each other, so it made us a little more, like I said, closer. And so I think when somebody gets a little shy or nervous too, the other four will pick them up. So it's almost like a team sport, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of boost each other up if somebody gets a little nervous. So I highly recommend everybody should do it. They should put it on their bucket list. Mm-hmm. And go for it.
And what if a family does want to apply? What's the process again?
Cassidy?
Oh, so you have to go. So
she's the one that...
Right, I'm the one that found it. So they end up, through their Instagram pages, on TV, on Facebook, they end up putting out a call for applicants. And then I'm pretty sure we went to CBC's website where they, you know, you go through the form and you have to complete everything on there, including a video submission. So you just have to go on their website and you'll find it there.
All right. And one final question for you, Cassidy and Madison, starting with Cassidy. You saw that it's there. You don't know, I'm assuming you don't know what the edited final version is going to be.
Right.
And I would imagine, I'd love to know how you reacted when you saw yourself on TV.
It was so strange, honestly. But, I was really happy with the way they edited it. There was a couple of times where I felt like I maybe didn't say the best thing, and they chose the perfect parts, and it really looked great in the end. We were all so happy with it. But it was weird to see ourselves on TV for sure.
Yeah, Madison, I don't know if you're getting the gears at the office. What were you thinking after you saw yourself on TV?
I totally agree. It was so surreal actually seeing ourselves, and beforehand we hadn't seen any part of the show, so we were really experiencing it almost for the first time with everybody else, and it was pretty cool. And it's definitely going to be something that we're going to keep forever, show our kids, our grandkids, and it's going to be really a lifetime memory.
For sure. Emery, last word to you. What were your thoughts after you saw your family? You must have been one proud dad.
Yeah, I really was, and I was, the girls too were kind of apprehensive at first, and kind of when we got on there, and just kind of watching it on TV. And like Madison said before, the feedback that we got, everybody thought it was really well done. And I was just really proud of all our team members, including my nephew and his fiancée. They were pretty amazing. Well, they surprised me.
Well, way to go. You guys really did something special for life, and glad you did it. So I want to thank you very much, Emery and Madison and Cassidy, Dora, for coming on the air with us and sharing your experience.
Thank you, too, and thanks for giving us a chance to tell our story.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, thank you. That's the Dora family from the West Island, Dorval specifically, talking about their appearance on Family Feud Canada, which aired this past Thursday. All right. Coming up on Life Unrehearsed, we're talking prostate health, and we're going to hear the inspiring story from two gentlemen that have been battling prostate cancer, and we're going to hear about their involvement with Prostate Cancer Support Group, Montreal and West Island, a wonderful support group based right here on the island, and that's going to be coming up after the 3:30 CTV News Update.